Kofi, what do you make of this?
The Same and his party were trying to steal the seat.
Okay.
And then the Supreme Court said, stop it. Look, this morning I wrote a piece on this issue, and anyone who has time can go on my Facebook wall and read it. You know, Section 18.1 of the PNDC law 284, makes a very categorical statement. It says, an election petition shall be presented within 21 days after the date of the publication in the Gazette of the results of the election to which it relates. Basically, what the law is saying is that if we go into an election, let's say Same and I are contesting at the same parliamentary level, let's say Metro TV constituency. We go into the election, I win the election, Same claims, oh, Kofi didn't win the election. The law says that Same has a right to go to court to seek redress, but he must do it within 21 days after the results have been gazetted. Because the EC will go through all the calculations, everything, gather all the necessary documents, and then gazette it. So it becomes record, official record. The EC gazetted on 24th December 2024. What it means is that from 25th up to 21 days, if Same wants to go to the court and challenge my victory, he has a right to. But it has to be within 21 days after the date of Gazette. The Supreme Court, in its own ruling, which is Ernest Kumi, may his soul rest in peace, just last year, confirmed this law by saying that indeed, if you want to file, it has to be within 21 days. Then Kpandai happens. The EC gazettes the results 24th. Then the candidate, the NDC candidate, files a petition, which is his right, except he filed it 31 days after Gazette. So it was outside of the mandatory or statutory requirement. So the Supreme Court is saying that the moment that case was filed, the Tamale High Court should have thrown out that case. The Tamale High Court didn't have jurisdiction to even sit on the case because it was illegal ab initio. Nevertheless, the Tamale High Court, not only did they sit on the case, they then ruled in favor of the NDC candidate. And then they sent or they instructed the EC to conduct another election. Then Agbangbagben also instructed the clerk. The clerk wrote to EC that a new by-election should be conducted. And then we said no. So we filed several petitions, including a certiorari. We went to the Supreme Court for interpretation. And the Supreme Court said, you are right. The Tamale High Court didn't have a right, none whatsoever, to even sit on the case because the parliamentary candidate filed outside of the statutory 21 days. So this is a bogus case and they thrown it out. Immediately the Supreme Court threw out the case. The NDC went to town. Oh, even though we've lost independence, the judicial independence, you know, the Mahama courts are better, you know, but all manner of things, creating the impression that somehow this is the first time a Supreme Court is ruling in favor of the opposition. That is not true. From High Court to the Supreme Court, Atuforsen case at the High Court, they ruled in favor of Atuforsen. Is that not the case? Supreme Court also ruled in favor of the opposition on several occasions. That notwithstanding, the Supreme Court couldn't have done otherwise. So the whole argument of judiciary is back. I heard Franklin Kujo and then K. Kujo, you know, shouting and praising the Supreme Court, the judiciary is back, independence of the judiciary. Look, the Supreme Court couldn't have done anything, because that would have been destroying their own integrity. Because just last year, the same Supreme Court ruled that to file a petition, it must be within 31 days in the Neskumi case. How can the Supreme Court go contrary? How can the Supreme Court do anything different? So the bottom line is that in any case, Moro, if there was judicial independence, what happened to that judicial...
We'll just put up your piece.
Oh, okay. If there was judicial independence, what happened to the judicial independence at the High Court? Why didn't the High Court exercise judicial independence? Why didn't the High Court do the right thing? A High Court commits such an egregious error, such a heinous crime, nearly taking away someone's right, knowing the basics of law, common sense. I mean, I'm not even a lawyer, but I would know that if the law says that you have to file within a certain number of days, and I don't file within that number of days, I am outside of my rights. Yet the Tamale High Court glanced over this obvious error. God knows what was pushing the Tamale High Court. God knows what was influencing the Tamale High Court. But we have an idea. Because comments by Mustafa Bande and Mr. Computer, not Dr. Computer. I'm not talking about the doctor. I'm talking about Mr. Computer. Comments by them suggested that, of course, something ill had been done. Some influence peddling had happened. Otherwise, it didn't make sense. So please, the 2 points that I'm making, one is that the High Court goofed and they did big time. 2, the Supreme Court didn't do anything special. In fact, they couldn't have done anything different. The Supreme Court had a duty to confirm their own precedents.
Okay.
The very thing they have said themselves just less than a year ago.
Okay.
That is all they did. And they couldn't have gone contrary to the law.
Okay.
So let's stop the noise about judiciary back.